Hey, good afternoon. It's Boogie with the Bull. True Patriot Talk. I'm Dave Glovin. We are live on Facebook on the Dave Glovin profile. We're live in the Boogie with the Bull page on Facebook. We're live on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. And if you follow Boogie WT Bull on Twitter, you will get your daily dose of the Bull right now on Twitter. The live chat on Facebook is on the Dave Logan profile. Come on in and be there. If you are watching on YouTube, the live chat is on the YouTube channel. It's the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. And there is no live chat if you're watching on Twitter at Boogie WT Bull. So your best bet for a live chat is to watch us on YouTube or Facebook. And we'll get right down to it. I'm a little bit rusty, a little bit out of practice, so I may speed talk a little bit this morning. Got to kind of relax and chill and just kind of go with the flow. Lots of things going on in the world right now. Silicon Valley Bank is in the process of being dealt with by federal receivers, and who knows what will happen to it. Elon Musk, I guess, has expressed interest in buying it, using it as Twitter's bank, and the electronic payment partner like PayPal and Venmo and all those other crazy things. He would use Silicon Valley Bank to be PayPal's, Twitter's online banking partner. So could be kind of interesting. And I would think that if the world's wealthiest man wants to take all of his money and put it into one bank, take that bank private, it's probably a good chance that it would clean up and operate properly. In the Boogie with the Bull live chat, I see Justin Hart. Pleasure to have you watching, Justin. And while we're talking about the Silicon Valley Bank bust, tomorrow 10 a.m. on Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk, Mike Gill joins us from State of Corruption and State of Corruption, New Hampshire. We'll be talking about the state of corruption, looking at Silicon Valley Bank to see whether or not a bank that had more money in it than the United States government has available to people. And, there had to be some warning signs. There had to be things going up telling people that this was going to happen, and whether or not they listened to them and paid attention or just took $4 million of bank stock and sold it. And I guess the day after all of this happened, all of the Silicon Valley Bank people eligible for bonuses got their bonuses paid to them this year. And then I guess they all kind of got booted when the federal government took over. Is this the sign of things to come? There's rumors going around that Bank of America and Wells Fargo are next. There's rumors that Chase may be going down the tubes. We know recently they closed their ATM machines from sunset to sunrise, saying that they were concerned with the safety of their customers using ATM banking in the dark. And who knows, it's just kind of crazy that this is happening. I mean, we all know that the Biden administration is working toward digital currency, working towards something called Biden bucks. You'll get bucks for working. And if you say something bad on social media, you could lose all your bucks. I honestly don't know. The only thing I know about bucks is tonight they pull the winning ticket for the $254 million in the Mega Millions jackpot. And if we're banking right, hopefully we will win it. And what we'll do with it, I can't really tell you, because my wife reminds me that it's bad bad karma to talk about what you're going to do with it, even if it's good things that you're going to do with it. It's bad karma to talk about what you're going to do with it because it jinxes your opportunity to win it. And right now, I don't want to do that. 61 years old, living the high life, riding Social Security disability insurance for another 4 years until I reach 65 and hopefully get transferred back to Social Security. And who knows in 4 years whether or not either one, SSDI or Social Security, whether or not either one of them will be here and available to people. Justin says there were all sorts of warning signs on the Silicon Valley Bank forfeiture. This is all part of a plan for digital currency by the Biden administration and the world cabal. Interesting thing about banking in the United States of America. A good friend of mine, who I won't name yet, posted 39 talking points that are all things that conservative patriot broadcasters probably have touched upon or want to touch upon in the near future. And I'm going to flip back to where is it? Oh, it's further down. There it is. The Federal Reserve was never legally ratified on the floor of the House and or the Senate. This was something perpetrated against Americans by a most unethical group of bankers. Examples given are J.P. Morgan, Paul Warburg, and J.D. Rockefeller. So basically, I guess we've been in some kind of illegal pyramid scheme for decades, centuries, however you want to look at it. The Internal Revenue Service isn't a U.S. government agency, but an agency of the International Monetary Fund, aka the IMF. The IRS was devised by bankers to collect national debt, which the bankers, created themselves by greatly inflating the cost of financing World War I and World War II, which these same bankers, instigated in the first place. The IRS began collecting the income tax directly imposed on the American people as a means to ensure perpetuation. I'm having trouble with some words today. Perpetuation of an archaic class system known as serfdom or slavery. In addition to the tax never being legally ratified, it is a direct, unapportioned tax on the labor of the average American worker, and therefore, according to the Constitution, is not a legal tax. Facebook, if you want to tell me that statement is false, misleading, or whatever you want, look up Diversified Metal Products versus IRS et al. Looks like the case number is C as in Charles, V as in Victor, -93-405, E as in Edward, -E as in Edward, J as in John, E as in Edward. USDCDI Public Law 94-564, Senate Report 94-1148, Reorganization Plan number 26, Public Law 102391. So lots of broadcasts we could go with on that. Matter of fact, it goes one step further and says that the IRS, the 1040 tax form, is quite literally a form of tribute paid to Great Britain. In the beginning of this fine document, it is brought to our attention that the Revolutionary War was a fraud. The United States did not actually declare independence from Great Britain, nor its king. America is a British colony. The United States is a corporation, not a landmass that existed before the Revolutionary War. The information for that comes from the Articles of Association, October 20th, 1774. Now, a country has a constitution. A corporation has Articles of Association, and we can bring on lawyers that can talk about both of that, both a corporation as well as opposed to a country with a constitution at any time. But it does list here codes and laws that Facebook can go look at. Matter of fact, it says the whole thing about the United States of America, again, is we have a constitution, but the United States of America Incorporated does not have a constitution. It says that there are no judicial courts in America. There have not been since 1789. Judges do not enforce statutes and codes. Executive administrators enforce statutes and codes. It gives a court case there. It says there have not been any judges since 1789. And then again, it lists some cases there. It says the most powerful court in the United States of America is, in fact, not the United States Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, and it lists 42 PACSA 502. And you can go look up that, or Facebook, you can go look up that as well. It also says an interesting thing, that you cannot use the U.S. Constitution to defend yourself because you are not a party to the Constitution. And it lists Paddleford, May and Company versus the mayor and aldermen of the city of Savannah, 14 Georgia 438, 520. You can go look it up there. It says the people does not include you and me, and it lists all kinds of cases that you can go after that. So it's kind of interesting how a corporation has allowed entities of its association, meaning banks, to get a hold of a lot of money, loan it out, invest it, do whatever, and then eventually go bust when their clientele wants some of or all of their money removed from that bank. So this will be an interesting thing. Like I said, it'll be very interesting to see if Elon Musk does in fact explain his idea of what he would do with Silicon Valley Bank if he were to buy it. Yes, Justin, American colonies declared independence from England in 1776, but then again, at some point, the United States of America became the United States of America Corporation, and the Articles of Association were in fact written on October 20th, 1774. So we can sit here, we can argue all of this, we can get people who are experts or scholars in the Constitution, and people who are experts and scholars in the Articles of Association of the United States of America Corporation, and we can battle it all out between all of them. I'm just presenting you a list of dots that, if you connect them, brings you through several situations that are in fact currently still on the books. Matter of fact, this document that I received closes by saying the good news is, under corporate law, the American people do not have to fulfill their fictitious obligations. We can discharge any fictitious obligation with that of another, because government and various agencies, corporations cannot directly interact with a living, breathing person. They must address your fictitious identity using all capital letters. We are not necessarily obliged in answering to them. Just remember, we are those who gave and continue giving government, corporate, and religious giants their power of control. Therefore, if we would stand united and resolute in both our reason and purpose, example given, collective refusal to participate, boycott of corporate exploitation, government taxation, use bartering amongst ourselves and smaller locally owned businesses, while gardening and farming wherever possible, conducting home births without tagging our children with certificates, social security numbers, or other dangerous UN necessary drugging, teaching our children at home rather than handing them over to state-run institutions for indoctrination centers, needless and dangerous drugging, and all of that stuff that we could go on. And if we stopped following Hollyweird, which most of us had pretty much given up on anyway, and have accepted that Hollyweird is a propaganda ministry completely controlled by less than in favor of the American people running our own life situation. All superseded by the Constitution adopted in 1787. Then in 1789, George Washington became the first president of the Constitution. Well, Justin, I'll find constitutional scholars that will come on and address that, because in this document, and like I said, this document was made public by a person who is well known on Facebook and not well known on Facebook for anything political or dealing with the United States of America as a corporation or a constitutional republic. But it makes a comment about good old George, which if I can find it, I will read it to you, and then we can bring either good old George on or someone who can speak about it. Let me find it. Where is it? I can't find it. I cannot find it. I should have made note on it. But it basically calls George Washington a military dictator. There it is. Military dictator George Washington divided the states, in parentheses, estates, into districts based upon the ritualistic practice of dissecting Masonic squares. That's why even today so many towns are built on the square. America truly is the land of the free, Freemasons. That is Messages from Papers of the Presidents, Volume 1, page 99. Also Webster's Dictionary back in 1828 for the definition of estate. Like I said, there's a lot of things in here that not everybody is going to just accept happened, and that at any point the Constitution was no longer the document that runs the country. But what is being presented here in the documents that I'm reading from is that at some point the United States of America, with its Constitution, became a corporation with its own Articles of Association in October of 1774. And that appears to be the document that we are still running now. There's also an executive order, if I can find it, I believe it is 13802 or 807. Again, I should have made notes. Of specifics of what we were going to discuss it. Executive Order 12803. Read that one. It talks about everything in the United States being for sale. Roads, bridges, schools, hospitals, water, prisons, airports, etc. That the whole purpose of the corporation was to build things and either sell them off and make money, or make money operating those things. I'm not going to get into it heavily today because, like I said, I don't have equal people on both sides of the equation, the Constitution side, the Articles of Association side, that can get into a conversation with everybody watching and listening. That broadcast is in the works, and I don't have an air date for it yet because I'm still, like I said, trying to find people that want to participate and be able to represent both sides, the United States Constitution and the United States Corporation, Articles of Association, equally. So, as I said, comments, we were instituted as a constitutional republic. He didn't divide the states into Washington, D.C. He divided the states. He didn't divide the states. He divided Washington, D.C. into 10 squares. Well, you know what, Justin? We can argue it back and forth what people have researched and reported and exposed to you, and the reality of the Constitution and the reality of the Articles of Association. And we can argue that until we're blue in the face and go back and forth. But like I said, because I don't have the experts on this broadcast, I'm not going to dive into doing it right now. I grabbed the document because there was a point that had come up in the conversation early, and it just made sense to read some of those portions. That's a broadcast that is being worked on. There are going to be just as many people that are American citizens that are going to swear we're a corporation and run off the Articles of Association, as opposed to those that believe we did, in fact, have a constitution, and at some point we ventured off of it, and we got to do something with, we got to, end the association, end the corporation, however we have to do it, but end the corporation, become the United States of America, operating on the Constitution, which it had originally. And we've said that on broadcast before, and some broadcasters have even talked to you about how it needs to be done or where it needs to be done. So, again, it was just presenting some information on a broadcast that is being worked on. And Justin, maybe I'll invite you to be on to be on as a guest on that broadcast when I have the panel of experts on both sides of the equation, the Constitution versus the Article of Association, and we will talk it all out. We can change words. We did this, we did that. We instituted a constitutional republic. We did institute a constitutional republic, but at some point, Washington, D.C. became the corporation. And I don't know if it's because they did it while we were sleeping and no one knew about it, and they got it done, and they've been doing it for years this way, letting you think that they've been doing other things. So, there's a clash here somewhere, okay? There's a side to this equation that says we never did anything to leave England or separate from the king and Great Britain. We just formed a corporation that belonged to the King of England. And another thing here in the document is the King of England financed both sides of the Revolutionary War. Look at the Treaty of Versailles, July 16th, 1782. Look at the gold fringe on the United States flag, which is attached to the border of every United States flag hanging in every courtroom across America. Symbolizes America being ruled to this day, not from the beginning or not from whenever, to this day, under international maritime admiralty law. So again, there's all kinds of laws and constitutions and associations, and I don't have that panel of experts here today on both sides of the equation to deal with the questions and comments that are going to come from everybody. I'm committed to doing those broadcasts, but I just want it to be a panel when we have those people on the panel that can back up both sides and answer questions and comments that people make during a broadcast. Washington did that. He made sure D.C. was a non-electoral participant and would never be a state. Well, you can sit here and say until you're blue in the face, Justin, and I respect you and I love you. You're in all our groups. You're very active. And I, I'm not doubting what you're saying, but there are people that believe that Washington, D.C., the D.C. means dead corpse, dead corporation, debt corporation. I don't know what you want to do. But if you look at that, what George Washington did, according to what this person who did the research has done, we're still part of England. And I mean, we're still part of England, and has provided the statutes and codes and court cases that back up what he is saying. So again, the broadcast really needs to be having someone who is versed in the Constitution, as well as having another someone who is versed in the Articles of Association, as well as all of the court cases and the executive orders written by presidents, because where is it? I already mentioned it, but I didn't give you the executive order. But the one that talks about America is Executive Order 12803. Executive Order 12803. That appears to be in my reading of it, the interpretation of when the United States of America Corporation, when a president wrote an executive order that pretty much established the United States of America Corporation and recognized it. Although I know it goes back earlier than that, because there was an executive order that Richard Nixon wrote when he was president, which gave the United States of America, I've heard so many different places that it ended up. One was that it was given to the Interior Department. One is it was given to another department, and the president and the five cabinet secretaries, or the president and all the cabinet secretaries at the time, were charged with running the corporation. He was the CEO, and they were the board of directors of the corporation. We do know that grew over time when George Bush Sr. was president. We do know that it grew over time when George W. Bush, his son, was president, and the Department of Homeland Security was created, and FEMA was created under the Department of Homeland Security. And then pretty much at some point, I think we all remember the speech in the Rose Garden when Mike Pence was speaking and Donald Trump leaned over and said, "That's not what they told me," in so many words. That was another acknowledgement of when all of this happened. There are arguments on both sides, but the Founding Fathers declared America independent of England in 1776 with the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Yes, you're 100% right, but at some point, some politicians, Justin, sold out your country with the Articles of Association, turn this thing back into a corporation that evidently, according to their Articles of Association, are still under British Crown rule. So we can argue this all day long with, I only have what the notes and the research I did on the notes give me. But like I said, it has to be a broadcast where we have someone who is versed in the Articles of Association, separate from someone. It doesn't really matter whether or not it was ratified by the states, Justin, because the document, like I said, when we read the part about the Internal Revenue Service is not a government agency. Then there's also the portion that says that part of this was never ratified. The Federal Reserve was never legally ratified on the floor of the House and the Senate, and is not a government agency. And then it names some of the unethical group of bankers that set it up. So even if we are operating on a constitution and have been operating on a constitution for hundreds of years, we've allowed our government to create something called the Federal Reserve. We've given them control of the finances of the United States of America, yet they were never legally given that authority. So, Justin, like I said, it's going to be on both sides of this. People are going to run to the table and go, oh, yeah, we signed this document in 1776 that made us free from England. Well, it may or may not appear that is in fact, that it in fact had it made any difference. So, I mean, like I said, I don't know what we can do. It was never ratified by the states. Well, the Federal Reserve was never ratified by Congress. That's what this is basically saying. The House and the Senate didn't ratify the Federal Reserve. And if that's the case, Justin, then explain to me why the Constitutional Republic of the United States, which knew that the Federal Reserve wasn't legal because it wasn't ratified by the House or the Senate, continued to operate on it anyway. Because at some point, my friend, somebody would have gone on Facebook and on Twitter and on YouTube and on everywhere else I'm live today and any place people are sharing this to right now. So, you explained the IRS under Lincoln. Well, you know what? It's like I said, I already read to you the portion of this that basically says the IRS isn't legal. But we all know basically the IRS isn't legal anyway. We already know that the IRS isn't legal because the only way a government can make money is to collect taxes. And taxes have to be approved by the government, which is the House and the Senate, representing the people that sent them there. Because as a society, we did. But Justin, you just proved my entire point here. Everything that you've said they did before 1776 is everything that I said the corporation did back in 1774. So our founding fathers, rest in peace, either fooled us into thinking they created the freest country on the face of the earth, and then a few years after they formed this corporation, a few years after they formed this corporation, went back to, in theory, you're saying, went back to operating as a constitutional republic, but using the Articles of Association to continue running the country. And they kept doing it to this day because nobody has had the balls to take them to court, which with the Constitution you can do, but with Articles of Association, there's probably some clause in there somewhere that says binding arbitration, and binding arbitration is their courts. So, I mean, it's a mess. I mean, I'm not saying, hey, people, we allowed this to happen. We did allow it to happen. Everybody knows that. But all of us sit here on these broadcasts and say it's a call to action, or this group is a call to action. Calls to action become what my buddy and conservative patriot genealogy broadcaster Randy Rhodes calls regurgitation. Randy used to say that he got tired of doing Boogie with the Bull broadcasts every so often because all we did was regurgitate the day before's broadcast, talking about the same thing, just maybe from a different angle, and telling people this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to think about, and this is how you need to go about doing stuff. And then Randy would say, but nobody did anything. I don't think the Democrats care that they stole the election in 2020 because they had the House, they had the Senate. And if they really wanted to impeach Trump between 2016 and 2020, they would have. They would have found something and they would have gotten him impeached. It was just a diversion, I think, to keep him from doing what he set out to do when he sat down in 2016. We cut forward to what I call the Democrat playbook. The Democrat playbook means that they probably already, in the 240 some odd year history of this country, had already ran a group of plays known as the 2020 election and got away with it. Because I don't remember any time in my 61 years where anybody was talking about, well, maybe the Democrats stole an election. But I'm sure they did, and they didn't get caught. So again, it goes into the Democrat playbook. And then the next time, 2016, they think they've got a candidate that's going to win and going to be on their side and be one of them, be the first female president of the United States, but bad emails and this and that, and then they're all of a sudden deciding, well, maybe we don't want you to be president, and maybe the best thing to do is to help Donald John Trump get elected, because that'll give us 4 more years to work on making sure we have a president who's either going to do what we want to do or just let us do what we want to do and move us along to where we need to be moved along. Biden, I think, in his lack of being able to be president, got that 284,000 barrel a day oil harvesting operation going into effect in Alaska. Well, Biden knows right off the top he has to refill the strategic oil reserves to where they were before he did whatever he did selling our oil to China. There are people on one side that say it's illegal. There are people on the other side that say, no, within an operation, within the federal government, he is actually allowed to do what he did, and he did it. So, I don't really care whether or not he anymore that he sold it. I mean, he committed a crime one way or the other. But the bigger crime is that he will walk away in 2024 if he's not reelected and never have to be responsible for getting our strategic oil reserves built back up to where they were when he did whatever he did, whether it was legal or not. Okay? Also, you have to think that 284,000 barrels of oil being filled every day means that in a very short period of time, the bulk of those 284,000 barrels a day are going to be made into gasoline at all the octanes that we need right now, or it's going to power all of the electric plants that generate all the electricity for your charging your electric car. But I want to think about it that my 22-year-old Toyota that runs on fossil fuel gas prices are most likely going to drop. And I hope that even if Biden isn't reelected, and Trump does come back in 2024, gas prices are going to drop maybe back to $2 a gallon. I mean, I can't guarantee it. I'd like to see it happen. But, I mean, science and technology has proven to everybody that the electric car, in most cases, is just a spontaneous combustion waiting to happen. And the technology, in some cases, really isn't there. I watched a video on one of the higher-priced Tesla models. They took out this whole battery keeper, whatever you want to call it. I think they called it a battery case. The thing weighs 1,000 pounds. And I guess what the problem was, I guess it wasn't charging. It wasn't charging because one of the 6,000 cells in the battery wasn't charging anymore, or correctly. That's enough to take the whole thing down. It won't charge properly. You can't use it. I don't get it. Then I saw a video on YouTube yesterday. No, actually it was on Facebook Watch. This little cute little blue and white car that I only saw a few seconds, maybe a minute or two of it. I have to go view the rest of it. But I guess it's a solar-powered vehicle that does 0 to 60 in like 3 or 4 seconds. It has 1,000-mile range per charge. Like I said, it's somehow solar-powered because it charges while it's out in the sun, whether you're driving it or not. Of course, most likely, the big three automakers will make sure that it never happens. Or the big three automakers will make him a deal that he can't refuse, and they'll buy his company or they'll buy his patents, and they'll just sit on them. And we all know that they do stupid things like that. I told you, my friend Alan Dale, back in California, I think it was, showed me this thing like a circuit board with some wires coming off of it. And I think he said he was getting 150 miles a gallon off the engine of his beautiful white Cougar two-door convertible. I don't remember what year it was, but I think it was 1982 that he showed it to me. And he did it on his own time because he was working for a major technology company and he didn't want them to claim it as his and squash it and never do anything with it. And I never heard what if anything, he actually ever did with it. But, they don't, I've said before that I think that the oil industry and the car manufacturers are working together because there's only so many miles per gallon they want you to get, so that you have to buy gas while you own your car. So it's just time that we need to vote in term limits, because the people who are in the House and the Senate and other government jobs that they're elected to are not going to leave on their own. They got in at, like AOC, they got in at 174,000. No, they got in, I think she got in, it was $147,000 a year when she got in. Then it got raised to $174,000 a year. And I haven't heard if Speaker McCarthy took up a compensation package, whether or not they gave themselves a year gave themselves a year for getting reelected or elected this year. But I had been saying if they do, it's probably going to be $200,000 a year. And then, that's just your salary. Campaign war chests, envelopes here, envelopes there. Mike Gill's the person to talk to about that. He'll be on Boogie with the Bull, True Patriot Talk tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I wanted to grill his brain, having dealt with the state of corruption, New Hampshire, and the New Hampshire banking nightmares. I figured he'd be a good person to pick the brain on the Silicon Valley Bank closing and try to give us information that some of us don't have, may never get, and just want to understand. I'm sorry that people that work at Silicon Valley Bank may lose their jobs while the federal government receivership cleans it up, and then waiting until Elon Musk buys it, or maybe if Elon Musk wants to buy it, maybe he'll work an agreement out with the federal government that everybody stays where it is except the top officers, the people that were responsible for it folding up. It's sad. It's sad. I still don't understand in 61 years of life what makes a person with a thriving business. And I heard something like as high as like $9 trillion may actually have been what was in that bank. And, I heard people that had $60 million in that bank were saying they might get $100,000 back. Somebody else said they might get $250,000 back. Well, that's not good enough. Oprah Winfrey, I call her Oprah Windbag, but I still have a lot of respect for her. The lady has built a media empire that is worth $500 million. And you say, well, today it looks like you're going to get $100,000 back. Tomorrow you say, well, we did a little bit more digging, and I guess you get $250,000 back. Big whoop-de-doo. It should be that you get $1 million back up to a maximum of so many million. And the banks should be required to be making the deposits either in other banks or within the federal government, legitimate banking operation that makes sure that if you put $60 million in their bank, that you will eventually get $60 million out of that bank. It's just Biden is guaranteed all the investors will get their money back. Biden's saying that because Biden is figuring that the American taxpayer is going to be continuously screwed until we pay it all back. But I don't believe anything when Biden says people are going to get paid back. When Biden says anybody's going to get paid back. Why? Because Joe Biden stood before the American people and said, you don't have to pay your college debt back. I'm going to forgive you. If I owned a company that loaned billions of dollars in student loans to people who decided to take the loan and they stopped making payments because the government said, well, you can stop making payments. We're going to investigate this. Then Joe Biden says, you don't have to pay any of it back. I think every student loan business should have filed a court case against the Biden administration, the U.S. government, for allowing the president to make a decision they knew he couldn't make. If I had a business that, say, had $100 billion in it, or access to $100 billion in cash, and we had loans out for $100 billion, and the president came to me and said, Dave, people don't have to pay you back because I said they don't have to pay you back. First thing I'd say is, well, then, come back to my office with a check for $100 billion from the United States government. Because, I got to pay back that $100 billion and hopefully make a profit so that while I'm getting that $100 billion back, I got more money to loan and I got to pay people. The federal government needs to get out of business. We owe more money. We owe trillions of dollars that the Biden administration is not going to get paid off because he doesn't have the money coming in. Give trillions of dollars, or what will amount to trillions of dollars, to Ukraine, and not spend the trillions of dollars here in the United States. Leave our borders open so anybody can come along the southwestern border and hop, skip, and jump into the United States. Because you want to make sure that you have enough illegal immigrants who become illegal citizens who can illegally vote for you in 2024, because you fear that the majority of the American citizens, your party and the other, aren't going to vote for you. It could happen. We're the only country on the face of the earth people regurgitate to me every single day on broadcasts that I'm on, conversations that I have with people, posts in our groups. We're the only country in the world that doesn't have secured borders all the way around it. We're the only country that you can hop, skip, and jump from the southwestern border in here anytime you want. And we're obviously not that bad a country in the grand scheme of things, because you don't see the bulk of Americans trying to get into Mexico to have a better life. So I don't know what to tell you. There's no reason why we should not have a secure border with all the technology that we need to patrol it, backed up by humans that need to do the job. I kept saying the 87,000 new IRS agents should be sent to the border. Run a credit check on everybody coming in. See what kind of assets they have. Make sure they can afford to pay taxes. Make sure they can afford to buy a house. Make sure they can afford to buy a cell phone. I'm 61 years old. I worked for 43 years. Fortunately, I didn't pay a lot of taxes in the 43 years because I owned businesses and pretty much everything was a write-off. But this is ridiculous. This is just ridiculous. You can You can illegally enter the United States of America and get a job at McDonald's making $22 an hour. And if you're good, you'll accelerate up the shift leadership and shift management role to a management role, and maybe even one day operate a store for someone, or one day own your own store. And we're bringing you in here, we're supporting you, we're giving you everything you need, better than what Americans are entitled to. I finally updated my phone. The LG Stylo 4 I had, it's now my backup. It was a 3G, 4G phone that was, I think, somewhere between 4 and 6 years old. And 5G is out, and 3G is dead, so it was time to move up. And fantastic. Paid a fair price for it. Very happy. But you walk over the border and they hand you a new iPad, a brand new top of the line iPad, and a brand new iPhone, and give you some kind of debit card or something. They put you up in a 5-star hotel. Feed you, clothe you, help you bring the rest of your family in here, take care of them. Well, we got men and women of the United States military sleeping on benches in the park, if they could even get a bench to sleep on. And we don't do anything. We don't do enough to help them. Yes, we do some fantastic things. We work with seriously disabled military people who come back and retire. And there are organizations out there that will build, equip, and give them a home beyond their wildest dreams. But we still don't do enough for the people who end up on the streets. And in my life, owning cabs and limousine businesses in Waltham, every homeless person I met living on the streets in Waltham was something like that. They were a military person who came back, and they had a home, or they had a safe place to live, and something happened and they just couldn't handle it, and they ended up on the streets. Not because they wanted to, maybe, or maybe they wanted to, but most of them just would admit that life just got to be too much. They weren't getting any help. They didn't know how to get help. There was no help available, and they ended up out on the streets. And it just became easier to do that. Well, this is 2023. And you can blame it on the Democrats. The Republicans have some part of it too, I'm sure, because we've had Democrat presidents, we've had Democrat leaders of the military, Democrats that controlled the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Republicans that controlled the Joint Chiefs of Staff. One of the first planning officers way back, good friend of mine that I haven't seen in years, Major General Alan Weisberger. I wish I could track him down. I really do. I really do. He would be an awesome guy to get on a Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk broadcast if I could track him down. But then again, you listen to my friends I listen to Jerry Michaels on the American Rebellion, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern, sometimes a little later. If you get a chance to, after they turn the cameras off, after they turn the cameras off, sometimes they keep it going in the green room for a bit. Pardon me while I try to send something out. If I send this out, I'm going to send out a link to a person right now who just asked me if I'm live, and I am. So I'm going to send the person that asked me if I'm live. I just sent you the link. If you've been watching and you want to come on, or you have not been watching and you want to come on, we reached an hour. I will go a little bit later. And all right, he said that he may stop in. I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to go, so don't wait too long. Mystery guest. It is. Yeah, I wanted to be done by 7 because I wanted to be able to go over to the American Rebellion and beyond tonight if there was space on the panel, or at least watch. I apologize if I've gotten a little wired up as we've gone through this broadcast. Justin, I respect you, love you like a brother, and would not want to have issues between us that would ruin our friendship. No decent person wants to be homeless. Well, Justin, I have friends that unfortunately they did their damnedest to try to make it work, and it just didn't. Okay? And, they lost their apartments. They lost their jobs. It was hard to get another job. Bad things. They started to do bad things, and before you knew it, they just couldn't do it. They just didn't have it. I'm a firm believer when these big developers come in and they buy the dilapidated old warehouses and production buildings, manufacturing buildings, and they turn them into high-priced condos and mixed-use facilities. That, great. If you're the city council, if you're the planning officer for the city, give them the deal that they want, but then say you got to go over and buy this rundown building and rebuild it and make it affordable housing. And you have to favor the handicapped in that too. But yes, we should always take care of our vets first, Justin, and we don't. And I've been saying that for a long time. Okay? I've been saying it for a very long time, and other people have been saying it even longer than I have. And it is my pleasure to bring one of my favorite mentors to the table, Michael Anthony, who has returned from his last 30 years of darkness. And good evening, Mr. Michael.
What is that all about? 30 years of darkness, huh?
Well, I heard you're an accomplished erotic wildlife guy. I heard that you were playing with snakes all weekend.
Playing mistakes?
No, I heard that you were playing with erotic animals this weekend. Like you were playing with snakes this weekend?
No.
This week?
I don't. Michael doesn't play with serpents. I'm not that type of guy.
No, I
Hey,
know.
I did get something though, like this group thing, and it came through, but I don't know what it was about. It was Ron, you, and Jen.
No, no, I came on. I had an hour that I could do. I came on. I started with a couple of things. Then I went into that talking points about the corporation and stuff. And there's interest. I gotta find somebody who can speak on both sides of the Constitution, and then someone who can speak on the Articles of Association, because I don't know enough. And what I see is that at some point we were a constitutional republic, and at some point we became a corporation, and then at some point we became a corporation that in the public,
1871.
well, we became, if I go back, you hear, Justin made his comments that in 1776 we declared our independence from Britain, but one of the talking points is that on October 20th, 1774, somebody wrote the Articles of Association, and that seems to be what we've been operating under while everybody thinks we're a constitutional republic.
Yeah, they let us believe it, but I mean, here's the thing. No matter what all this is right now, it doesn't seem to make any difference. That's just my view. I'm not trying to be negative. You've seen this huge storm be created, and the big clouds are coming in. The darkness is getting stronger. The winds are picking up. The rains are coming down harder. I mean, look,
Yep.
we're coming into a particular spot where, they're not being silent, and they're being very vocal, and they don't care what we know or who knows what. So what does it all mean? It means in a way that we've never been in any kind of control. When you have the left and the right and the conservative, the Tea Party, the liberals, it doesn't matter. The point in my thought is the truth behind all of this is no matter what all these battles and wars are, and there's criminal actions that have been made and done, we're still in a different place, and that place is not good because they have always been in control, and that's a fact. They've planned this. They manipulated it. They planted people. It was selection, not election, and more. Conditioning and education. Every system has been tampered with, even while Trump was in office. Even while he was in office. And the proof to that is, look what they did to that poor man while he tried to run a country. But he successfully did pretty good.
Right.
But it didn't matter, because in order to get back on the narrative, because he hijacked the system on them, Joe came in immediately and crushed every executive order. So those are some of the similarities of facts that I think are important, Dave, and that's the awareness. Yeah. Where's the future going? What does the future hold? What is the cures?
Down the toilet. The question will be whether or not we can get Mr. Trump back, or a responsible Republican if the Donald were to decide not to run. From what I hear from people who claim to know him or be in his inner circle, is that he's not, he's if he earns the Republican nomination and he doesn't get it, he's talking about what he may do.
Well, number one is the first thing in this war, part of that scenario surrounding the war is to eliminate Trump, indict him. And that then would probably cause grave concern to the American people. And how it may work, how long it would be out there, and what could be done and resolved immediately if a case scenario like that would occur. That's some of the things that nobody's really talking about that they should be. I think the Republican Party does have a different mindset on what DeSantis could do. And I don't think he's going to be the rock star for America the way everybody would like for him to be. I think now that there are things coming to light that are questionable. And even though I seen him do greatnesses for the Floridians in your state that you now live in, and I can't, but I mean, he's coming out and he's just gut punching all of us right now, causing a disruption and a narrative, which, is to only harm us. In my mind, you don't be the rock star you are and come out unless you have an agenda that you're seeking for others. So we have to be very careful about this guy. We really do. In the meantime, I'm hoping that Trump already has the expectations of, and I believe he does, that they will try to indict him on some trumped up charge, some Trumpism charge.
Trump,
but
Trump,
they will. They
Trump
don't really have. They don't
charges.
really have a choice. Like over 2 years ago, I said, look, these people, win or lose, win, lose or draw, even though draw wouldn't matter unless they could draw something up that would harm us. In that case scenario, draw. We're going to be where we are fighting a battle, but you don't have to be a president to win the war.
Oh.
I'll just say that.
I'm getting a laugh out of electric vehicles and the phrase trumped up charges, because I just think he's probably looking at every available land spaces around Mar-a-Lago that he can launch a chain of electric vehicle charging places called trumped up charges.
Well, there's a time for good laughter and humor. And I'm not getting on you. That's not what I'm doing here. But I do think now.
I have to drop a little bit of humor and get people to laugh.
I know, but if ever a time of
my brain just
okay, but if ever a time of importancy, it is amongst us right now when you see the possibilities of other devastational scenarios occurring, like earlier today, an admission through a site. I'll say a site because I don't want to flip people out.
No.
But where nuclear water has been leaking out now, discharging into the water system. Trains derailing.
Arizona and Washington now. It's happened yesterday.
It's everywhere, and it's everything, and it's very scary. And, everybody has to, just focus on the main thing here.
Yep.
Protecting themselves, protecting their families. We're going to have consequences. We may not save everything in our lives that we feel was fruitful, but we can return. We can pick up and rebuild. That's why Trump said we will have freedom cities, because, of course, that means that we will go back to our God-given natural rights and formatting a scenario for unity for we the people. As Trump, even when he won the election, he first said, I'm going to give America back to the people. And, and I think he will do it again, but he will come in with vengeance. And as he said, and he did say this, Dave, I know the system. I know how to work against the system. And I will come in as a new law enforcement throughout America to remove the injustice and all the others. And, these people aren't going to just say, okay, you won the election, or they're going to fight him tooth and nail, because they're not going to hold out their hands waiting for handcuffs to say, take me away. They're going to defend themselves till death do them part, without a doubt. And it's going to take every man, woman, and child on the right side to make this better and to fix this. And it's going to be hell. In many ways, a lot of people are going to be affected with things they never thought they'd ever be affected with or by. We're going to hear so much more coming from them of made up bullshit. Again, why? Because fear works best. It sells for them what they only could have done up to this point, even though now we know there was a certain party of us who know unequivocally these people can't make up anything that scares us. So what you have to worry about is what they don't talk about that they could do. That's the scenario. That's the key element in this storm that's about to throw in our faces really, really soon.
Yeah.
You know, I did have a positive message of
Hey,
hope.
you know, I came on thinking it'd be giggles and laughs, and you know, like I said, I haven't done one since last Saturday morning, and actually, no, I don't. Yeah, yeah. So I got to get kind of back into the practice of it, and you know, reality, as I had started to say in the beginning, people don't want to hear regurgitation. They acknowledge that we're all in a severe call of action, and you know, so it's trying to come up with new ways to get the information to them, try to ignite them to do something. We're now able to, thanks to StreamYard and the package that we're finally sitting on, we're able to live broadcast stuff that people may not be able to get to. But you know, so it's a new world, but unfortunately, it's an old game.
Oh, I don't know how old it is. I mean, it's here amongst us. I mean, you know, I get what you're saying, though. I do get what you're saying. You know, today there's a lot of rumors about a lot of things going around. You know, fears. It's up to people to believe what they want and also to plan for their own future, just in case. There's nothing wrong with planning in case, because in case you want to live for tomorrow, you better plan for today to see that futuristic plan. But, you know, I don't know, brother. I don't know. You know, I just keep doing what I do. I trug along. And I did I had some words in text form back with Charlie Ward today. And I said to him, I said right out, I said, Charlie, what do we got here, man? What's the hope? What's the outlook? Give me something, you know, I could throw to the people that you're not reaching on my side until we can get a meeting together, because that's coming. But, and not that I'm looking for it to, you know, gain brownie points on my side. I think we all have great information, and when we debate and share it together, we perform well and we enlighten people. But all he could say to me was 3 hearts and 3 hands of the prayers. So that's what I shared to people. And one of the very first comments I got laughed at, which was okay. So that tells you the mentality of what people focus on too, you know. It's a true fact that I talk to some of these people. I don't always share within their platforms. We have a little bit different of thought on things, but nevertheless, I think we all do, and that's what makes humanity great. You know, we're not all of the same color, we're not all of the same likeness, we don't all speak the same language, but we do breathe the same air, we do shed the same bloods, we do have the same inner spirit. Everything else is just cosmetic, then it really doesn't matter. It's just something when you're in life that has the ability to create attractions between people, and that's a fascinating thing. And, you know, so here we are. Even when you have words of positivity coming from one of the highest dogs on the platforms out there in America, and they laugh at the comment when you're trying to just share a note of positivity that, you know, hey, let's just hang here. I mean, and focus together and create good consciousness of energy and whatever you need to do to protect yourself with what your beliefs are. Everybody has that God-given right to do it. Even with these idiots trying to say you can't, you don't, you won't, you will, you won't, it doesn't matter. Just do what's good for you and stay focused in that place, because it's going to come down to every man, woman, and child, and protect yours well. Anyway, I'm going on live at 8 o'clock with.
I know you're going on live at 8 o'clock, and the American
Yeah,
Rebellion
I
gets
got a little.
started.
I got a little bit of time though. I got a little bit of time going on with Nick Valente. He's a really good man to share a platform with too. He's a very good voice out
What is
there.
his specialty for that? I can't come up with the word I want, but what is his?
Oh, tonight I thought I would do something just a little bit different, and like I said, I think everybody looks for that informational format of entertainment and stuff. So we're going to be talking cryptids and some other things like that.
In tongues.
But you got to understand, David, and for anybody that doesn't want to understand, it's okay. If you don't know what below level 7 is, you ain't awake yet, and you don't know nothing about the research the way I do. I put things together that the government agendas and military industrial complexes are involved in, because the narration of the circumference of the issue starts biblical, as they showed us in the awards ceremony, as they have been parading in the streets and now putting up statues upon justice buildings and in the middle of certain city courtyard areas that are, belittling every aspect the way we would look at it as something to be natural. But these are those elements. These are those elements that belong to them. These are the people that have been running the United States that Eisenhower warned about, Reagan warned about, Lincoln going back in ways warned about and fought about, and Trump fought about. There is a coup, separate from a deep state, separate from a military industrial complex and all the things that they do. These people are in a different realm of life, believing in a different faculty of life, of something that they believe was here many years ago, and they're trying to protect their bloodline, utilizing ways to overcome methods to make it reality. And they have. And when you go below level 7, which goes to 42, depending upon where you enter the tunnel and what they use deep under the grounds and these units, like when they were saying that, hey, Putin's bombing all these underground bunkers and all these underground laboratories. Well, guess what? It may not be everything you think it is that's bio-related. These people are trying to reformulate life as we know it. They are trying to interface man and animal. They are doing things that I know sound sci-fi, but it's a fact. And you might want to just say to yourself, what was the conditioning of Jurassic Park? This is just the type of people that they are. They're fascinated with doing things like this, but they've always been in control. They figured out how to milk the cow up in Congress and Senate and beyond on many levels. They figured out how to build the country by utilizing a mob of mafia to utilize it for them and to make sure everybody got a fair cut of money, and that everybody got a share cut of money to feed back to somebody else. It was always about privateering, pirateering. Falls under the laws of the water. But nevertheless, when you look at that, these are factual things. These are what their beliefs are. And I am going to be doing a little documentary thing myself, where I'll be doing a pretty good presentation going through the narratives of it. Look, right now we have the Pentagon talking about deep in space on its way here is a giant mothership of life that we are not sure of what it contains. So why would our own Pentagon, be spilling the guts about it?
Is it a ship that's coming? Because I read something briefly about a week ago about the biggest meteor in the history of meteors is aiming at the Earth, and it's not that far away.
It's called Planet X. It's actually a planet. It's the planet of where these people are preparing the Earth for possibly the return of the Anunnaki. That's another phase of what my documentary will lead into. But you have to understand, creation didn't happen on Earth. Earth didn't even have an Earth. Earth was nothing. everything that happened came from above. Creation came from above, and here we are because of it. We can look up at the stars now with cameras and Hubble and all these other forms of intelligent, structures of uh, new ways of looking at the universe. And we're watching stars and Earths be born every day. What makes it all happen out there? I don't know. Is there somebody behind the picture? It's possible. I believe in a creator. Whatever it is, that's what my focus of life is on. I think everybody should have that type of focus. But here we are trying to just figure it all out. Yeah. So in one case, the Pentagon's talking about a mothership. Randy Rhodes actually sent me that last night. Some of the information on that. And here we're finding out that through science and other scientists, now it could be narrative. Remember, wherever the government puts grants in place, they hold the hand of control over where those grants work. That's why when you hear about the manipulation of weather and all this, they give it to you in a different format, saying, "Oh, it's all like today, the vortex split." It went one way and it turned to the other half went the other way. They can't come up with more shit. But they do. They do. They figure out a way to narrate around us. They're just irritating. They're just trying to irritate us and put us into a place. But we're suffering a lot of consequences due to the developments of what they have figured out how to do. All I'm saying is don't take anything off the plate. Don't take anything off the plate. We've seen a lot of mysterious things of the past now coming into the present. It symbolizes who they represent and what they represent for. And they put it out there. They don't care that we know. And just eat it up. Accept it or not. And we're the ones that won't accept it, so we're fighting them back. It doesn't put them in a great place, but that's where we're at.
All I know is that I'm sure they're watching us from the sky because, like I said the other day, it seems to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And that's probably just because it's every other day that they do it. That's somewhere between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. One helicopter comes in one loop and the other helicopter does the opposite loop at the same time. And I mean, they're I don't know what they are, but they got to be big ships in the air because they sound like they could land on the roof of the house at any time. And
we see them once in a while here too.
Then the other day, Thursday, in the middle of the afternoon, around 3 o'clock, they came from opposite directions, but ended up going toward Jacksonville Naval Air Station, which is where I'm pretty sure they end up on the night patrols. But I haven't seen them do anything during the day in quite a while.
I can tell you what I've been noticing in Pittsburgh is I see them using military helicopters of all different sorts going up and down the rivers. And it's not all day like a military patrol.
Yeah.
But it's not normal either. And it seems that, I don't know, follow the water. It's just really weird. But that's exactly what it looks like.
There was a video that showed a big military plane flying, releasing. We used to, not like the chemtrails that we used to talk about, but releasing what looked like clouds, spraying things that looked like freaking along a cloud that had to be 100 miles long.
I told everybody they were doing this kind of shit. They do it out in the middle of the ocean too, off ships.
Yeah.
They do it with land. They do it on land with trucks. They do it from the skies with planes. It's just all about what's the agenda or what the poison is. We don't know everything that they truly spray. That's what makes me worry the most, Dave. They fought us with an invisible virus. And everything that they do comes through invisibilities. And that's why I tell people when they say, oh, we need to stand up, we need to take our country back. And I'm saying, you won't pull the trigger. These people can hit us with something of an invisible force.
Yeah.
And you having a gun doesn't do jack shit. And it ain't going to work. Truth. It's not going to work. It's not even that fact, Dave. I'm sorry. Right. It's not even that fact. Our military has been built up, especially because of Trump, with new technologies that we don't stand a chance of ever defeating. And if we want to be stupid, as we talked about in the past, and I know, but there's a lot of indifferences here, but you can't win the battle on that. No matter how many guns we have, they have systems with a push of a button will do whatever they want, and they can do it from 42 levels underneath the earth. Yeah. And we never be harmed from it, and we will be.
Is Buzz Aldrin, the astronaut, is he still with us, or did he pass away?
Well, you know what? I haven't been on a whole lot. As far as I know, he's still alive.
Okay, this was someone had it up as a Facebook reel, and it was Buzz talking about. I got to go find the actual video, but it was Buzz talking about.
We never been to the moon?
I think so, because it was only like a minute, and there was a close-up of him, of what was supposed to be him in his spacesuit, and the name tag had the wrong first initial, Aldrin. And now I got to go watch it, because it brings back that movie. What was it, Capricorn 1, where I guess it turned out the space program was actually shot on a back lot at Universal or a soundstage. They never actually really left the planet.
Yeah. Well, you just keep in mind this. He's been putting out many different types of, and other people catching him on camera using TikTok formats and whatnot also.
Yeah, well, that's where this one came from.
And people are putting out his own words. He said it's been the biggest hoax ever pulled on humanity.
Well, TikTok's the biggest hoax ever pulled on social media. We all know that.
Well, you know what? Trump was right. Well, if you follow the money, there's a whole conglomerate of countries not in on the New World Order anymore. I'll just say that. What is the purpose behind all of it? I don't know every bit of it yet. I don't think any of us will. The same as like, when's the big event going to occur? Many people talk about a big event. There's a storm. This is going to happen.
I got a funny feeling
they're bringing people. They're bringing people over the border. Of course, they're bringing people over the border. They're building troops here. Not only are they building troops, they're building votes. What's more important is where the children. That doesn't matter. Yeah, that doesn't matter. But you know what? Right now, everybody's focused in that. And I wish I had more answers, but none of us know today from tomorrow what will occur, when or how it will occur. All you can do right now, if you're not seeing the big game being played out in front of you, and you're not preparing to at least try to protect yourself, then they're the people that are going to wind up on the bad end of the stick. Even if they're the fighters.
I've had a feeling for a long time. They're putting it in our skies. They're putting it in our drinking water. It's in the food that we're eating. It's getting in, even if you're growing stuff on your own, it's getting into that. And I just think it's going to be kind of like the movie Beetlejuice. We're all going to kiss our loved ones and go to sleep one night, and we're going to wake up in the lobby of Beetlejuice's office, waiting to have our appointment with God. And
that could be true, Dave.
Well, part of it is I don't want to believe that a being who created this wonderful thing that we're on and gave us everything beyond our wildest dreams we would ever need to sustain it would in fact one day just push the button and blow it up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard to say where we're going to go, how we're going to go, and how we're going to get there. But the one thing I think it's important for everybody to look at, if this creates any logic for everything, creation was handed down to us. And I try to tell people this. Oh, no, it didn't come. Yeah, it was. We're just here picking up the pieces of past civilizations. And that's the truth. There was technologies here. There were things here that we don't understand, that we speculate. And that's all because it's mind control in your mind, causing cognitive dissonance, not allowing you to actually reflect to the possibility that the lie is the lie and the truth is much bigger if you just open your eyes to focus on it to see it. But look, we became creation, and then we became the creators. It doesn't matter what civilization was here first. It's the one that's here now that's most important. Man and women, the ones they fight against, because that's bad.
Right.
Stop the purity of children. Stop the purity of creation. We create, our children create, their children create, creation, creation, creation. If you can stop it, it gives them what they want, control. As long as we can continue doing it, they have no control over us. But the point of fact is, with creation, between a man and a woman, we have children who create and build this beautiful planet of Earth and make it sustainable. And they want to stop that. And they're mad that we got this far because their plan didn't totally work, but maybe they just thought their agenda was prudent to start now. So, just remember, Dave, it's what we did in life. It's what our parents did in life to give us life that made us do something to put our carbon footprint in place. And when you ride down the roads of America and you look or travel across the world and you look down upon all these cities, it's all been because of the common man, not the intelligence is sitting behind trillions of dollars at Vanguard BlackRock, or the fact that every president goes and meets with the king, the queen, the postmaster general, of course, of the 33 and so forth. That is his first obligation, to go to visit the board.
I don't want to stop you because I know we could talk for hours, and it's great every time we do. It's 7:30, and you're on at what time?
Half hour.
So you need to take that half hour, go and get ready. I'll be watching. I'll be sharing it. I'm sending all the broadcasts I see and other good videos to the new Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk public group. So it'll be there. My family just got home as well. So go get ready.
All right, well, you go ahead, go. Have a great night. I'll talk to you via emails.
We'll talk to you. Yep. All right, Michael.
Take care, people. Like and share.
Yep. All right, Michael Anthony. You see him all over Facebook. The best way to follow Michael is to go to the Michael Anthony page with the red, white, and blue 10 o'clock talks profile picture. Become his friend, and anytime he is on, you will get a notification that he's on. Then you should go watch him and share him everywhere you think you can. If I see it, we will make sure he gets shared into, like I said, the new Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk public group. That's the public Boogie with the Bull group. Don't bother joining the Boogie with the Bull page anymore. You can't. All you can do is watch the broadcast. You can comment on the broadcast, but you cannot share the broadcast. The page has been around for, a bunch of years now. It was the first page I had on Facebook. They changed it to a Facebook for Business page. So you can't share it. All you can do is watch on it. We're going to kill that page and build up the new Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk public group. So tomorrow morning we'll be on at 10 a.m. with Mike Gill, from State of New Hampshire, State of Corruption, New Hampshire, and State of Corruption Broadcast, talking about all those banking issues up there in New Hampshire. We're going to talk about the Silicon Valley Bank going under, and a lot of information that not everybody knows. Thank everybody for watching. Justin Hart, you're always welcome back anytime. One day you'll be welcome on. Larry, you're making great comments. You'll be welcome back anytime, maybe even on the broadcast. But the door just closed, so the broadcast is going to come to an end. Go over to the American Rebellion blogger page. Catch the American Rebellion, which is already in progress. They started at 7 p.m. They go until 9 p.m. And if you're around, catch me tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Thank you. Take care. Good night. And we're gone.